all to the course Data Structures and Algorithms. Today's topic is on sorting algorithms. So here we are going to see about 4 algorithms: exchange sort, bubble sort, uh, insertion sort and selection sort. So exchange sort, I would show the pseudocode for the exchange sort first. So in the exchange sort you can see here ith element is compared with all the remaining j elements, and then you fix the position of that ith element first. Okay, so that's a exchange sort. You can see here I equal to 0. When I equal to 0, j is going to execute for all the remaining elements. So j's initial value is I plus 1. So first element is started comparing with the remaining all j elements, and you are checking the condition to check the position of I and j elements, and you are doing the necessary swapping. Okay, so a single element is compared with the remaining all elements, and you are fixing the position of that element. Okay, so here I'll just show you the tracing. So this is the input 84, 69, 76, 86, 64, 94 and 91. So one pass, that is the first iteration of the loop, what will be the result? So here as per the algorithm 84 will be compared with 69. So 84 is greater than 69, so it is not swapped. Then 84 is compared with 76, so 76, again 84 is greater than 76, so this is not swapped. 84 and 86 is compared, and you can see 84 is less than 86, so it will be swapped. 84 and 86 will be swapped. Then 86, because ith element is 86 after the swapping 84 and 86, so 86 will be compared with 94, and 94 and 86 will be swapped. Then 94 is compared with 91, and of course 94 is greater than 91, so it won't be swapped. So after the first pass the output will be 94, 69, 76, 84, 86, 91. So after the end of the first pass we have swapped 3 elements. Okay, you can see the difference. 84 has changed the position, 86 has changed the position, and 94 has changed the position. Okay, so after the first iteration you have fixed the position of 94. Next I is incremented, so I will be pointing to 69. 69 is compared with all the remaining elements. So after the second pass you can see 91 will take the position. Okay, 69 is compared with 76, so 69 is less than 76, so the condition is false, so you will be swapping 76 and 69. Then 76 is compared with 84, so it is also swapped, 84 and 76. Next you compare 86 and 69, then you will be swapping. So like that you will be doing, and 91 will take the position. So I would recommend you to do the tracing for this input, so every pass, and you can see the loop is running for 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So there are 6 elements, and it is you get the sorted output at the end of the pass number 5. Okay, so n minus 1 times this is executed, and every time you can see one number is compared with the remaining all elements, and the decision of swapping is taken based on the condition that you want to apply. Okay, so this will be the output of exchange sort. Now the time complexity, as you can see, I is the outer loop. When outer loop is 0, j runs for n minus 1 times. Okay, it has to compare n minus 1 times, and when I equal to 1, j is working for n minus 2 times. So when you can see, the pattern will be like this, that is the time complexity will be the addition of numbers from 0 to n minus 1, so n elements. So here it's a summation series, so n into n plus 1 by 2, you will be getting the time complexity of exchange sort as big O of n square. The next algorithm is bubble sort. So bubble sort is how different from exchange sort. In exchange sort, one number is compared with all the other elements. Whereas in the bubble sort, it compares every two adjacent elements in each iteration. Okay, and you can see the loop is running for n minus I. Okay, so here that's a condition. You can see in the previous exchange sort, it was you were comparing a of I with a of j. Okay, where j was running. Here you can see j and j plus 1. So in every pass you are going to compare two adjacent elements and then you are deciding to swap. Okay, so that is a bubble sort algorithm. So you can see in pass 1, that's the first iteration, 3. So if this is the input 3, 12, 7, 10 and minus 2, 3 and 12 is compared. So j equal to 0 and it is running for n minus I, right? So j is running till n minus I. So in the first iteration I value is 0. So n minus I will be 5 times, right? So you are comparing in the end of the fifth iteration you will be getting the output. Okay, so here you can see I equal to 1. So and j is equal to 1 to n minus I, right? So I is here 1. So n minus I times it is comparing. So you can see here 3 and 12 is compared. So when 3 and 12 is compared, so it is then the correct ascending order. So your j is incremented. Then 12 and 7 is compared. So you can see it is swapped. Then 12 and 10, then 12 and 2, and you will get the you will complete the pass 1. Okay, similarly in pass 2, again you do the same thing, two adjacent elements you are comparing and the next largest element is bubbled out. Okay, so every time you can see the sorted part here from the other bottom part, right? 12, 10, it is bubbled up. The maximum element is bubbled up 12, 10, and then the next maximum will be settling its position 7, right? So then 3 minus 2. Okay, so you have 5 elements and the number of times it is executed is 4 times. Okay, so this is a tracing of bubble sort. Please trace a sorting algorithm which is shown here. Apply the sorting algorithm to your any random input and then try make sure that you understand the bubble sort algorithm properly. So the time complexity here we can see that every time the first for loop is going to execute n plus 1 times, right? That is n will be the size of the array and one extra time when the condition is going to be false. Then the second loop runs for n minus I plus 1 times. Okay, n minus I 1 times it will be true and plus 1 time for exiting out of the for loop. So you can see that it is going to execute n minus 1 plus 1 times, then n minus 2 plus 1 times, right? When I is 1 and I is 2 respectively and so on. So it will again turn up to the summation series n plus n minus 1 plus etc. up to 1 and you will get the time complexity as big O of n square. Insertion sort. So insertion sort can be well explained with the card game, right? So this is a logic here. First I'll explain how the insertion sort can be represented using the card games. Say you are playing cards and the cards are distributed by one of your friends, okay, and you will be taking the card and arranging it in your left hand. Okay, so assume that now the card is being distributed. You got the first card, you took and put it in your inserted into the left hand. Okay, so now you have one card. When you have only one element, the element itself in the sorted order, right? So you need not do any sorting for the array with a size 1. Next you got the next card. So you just checked the card value, face value of that card and the card that you have in the left hand. So the card that you have in the right hand should be inserted in the correct order in the left hand, right? So you compare the face value of the card in right hand and the left hand. If the face value of the card in the right hand is greater than the card in the left hand, then you will be inserting the card at the end of your left hand as the last card. And if suppose if the reverse, that is the card in your right hand is less than the card in the left hand, then you have to shift the position and shift the position of the element of the card that is already there in your left hand to one level higher and insert it in the correct position, right? So that is how you will be arranging the a card for playing the game, right? So this is clearly a case of insertion sort. So here for I equal to 0 to n, so assume that you are going to have a 13 cards, okay? So you have 13 cards to arrange, so that I know earlier. So that's your outer for loop. Then the key is the distributor, the card which is you are distributing. So here in the key is that I'm taking the card on the table using my right hand. So the card in the right hand is the key, okay? So key is equal to a of I. Then j is equal to I minus 1. So here j is used for shifting the card, okay, shifting the card in the left hand to one level above, so that I can insert the key that I have taken in line number 2 in the correct position. So this is a condition, j greater than or equal to 0, okay. So the boundary of j is only till 0, so j should have the positive value, and a of j is greater than key, okay. So you are going to find the position where I can insert the new card that is I have in my hand, right hand, okay, which is a key. Now this logic is to shifting, that is a of j plus 1 equal to a of j. So you are assigning the value in the jth location to j plus 1 and decrementing j to j minus 1, okay. So this loop, this inner loop is actually finding the position where I can insert, okay. So once this j loop ends, this inner loop exits, you will be ready to insert the key value at a of j plus 1, okay, with which it gets sorted, okay. So this is the logic of insertion sort. This is explained using this example here. So you have 15, okay. So when you have 15, next element, so 15 is already in the sorted position. Next you are getting a card with value 9, okay. 9 you are comparing with the 15, okay, and you understand that 9 has to be inserted as a first element, right? So what you have to do, you have to move 15, right? 15 has to be shifted one place above, so that I can find room for inserting 9. So then since 15 is greater than 9, move 15 to right and place 9 to its correct position, okay. So next element is 30. So when you check 30, it is actually, when you compare it with 15, what happens, it is greater than 30 is greater than 15, so you will be inserting it as the last element, right? So last element in the, so there is no need of shift required when you are actually doing the insertion as the last element. So there is no shifting happening here. Next comes 10. So 10 is compared with 30. So 30 is greater than 10. So again 10 is compared with 15, and 15 is greater than 10. Again you will compare with 9. So you understand that this is 10 is greater than 9. So what you have to do, I have to insert 10 between 9 and 15. So I have to make room for that. Then the inner loop is executed, which will shift a of j, that is 30 to plus 1, a of j plus 1. So 30 is shifted at the 10th place, and 15 is shifted to 30's place, and then you find the room for inserting 10. So 10 is inserted here, okay. So every time you can see the array will be having a sorted part and an unsorted part, okay. So you can see here, when I finish the second iteration, you can see you have a sorted part 9, 15, 30, which is green in color, and blue color, which is the unsorted part. So every time you can see the array is divided into sorted part and unsorted part. Okay, so when you finish the iterations, you can see the number, you can see the sorted array here. Okay, so that's how insertion sort is working. Now let's see the time complexity of insertion sort. So here each line is referred to the algorithm here, line numbers. So you can go through that line numbers. This cost C1 is a primitive operations cost. Okay, anyway it is going to be a constant, so it is represented here as C1. C1 is a constant primitive operation count. That cost is represented using the variable called constant C1, C2, etc. So now and then you are finding the frequency. Okay, so C1 is executed for n times. Okay, C2 is executed for n minus 1 times. C3 is executed for n minus 1 times. Okay, so this is for n times and this is for n minus 1 times and this is for n minus 1 times. Now coming to this inner loop, that is here line number 4. Line number 4 is executed for sigma j is equal j to n minus 1. Okay, j equal to 1 to n minus 1 of Tj. Okay, why this Tj or what is this Tj? It actually reflects the count number of times shift an element to right side is happening. Okay, so Tj actually refers to the number of times the inner while loop is executed. Okay, so it actually depends upon the input instance that is given to you. Okay, it actually reflects the number of times the inner while loop is executed. Okay, it purely depends on the nature of your input. So these many times the line number C4 will be executed. J is equal to 1 to n minus 1 Tj. Okay, so Tj refers to the number of times the while loop is executed, the inner while loop is executed. So if the outer loop is executing for Tj times, then the statements inside the for loop is going to work for Tj minus 1 times. Okay, so C5 and C6 are the operation shifting. A of j plus 1 is equal to A of j, and then you have j equal to j minus 1. So those two steps C5 and C6 is executed for this many times, and C8, that is A of n minus 1, right. So it is actually what you call n minus 1 times, where you are assigning the key value to the correct position is executed for n minus 1 times. Okay, so when you compute this time complexity, it will be coming to worst case will be O of n square and the best case will be O of n. Okay, so I would like to know when will be the worst case and when will be the best case for this insertion sort algorithm. Okay, selection sort. So next is selection sort. So you can see the selection sort logic is given here. In the selection sort, the output is expected in the descending order. So every time you can see here I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. So the outer loop is executing for n minus 1 times, and you have an inner loop which this line number 3, 4, 5 is actually finding the minimum element in the array. Okay, so you are finding the minimum element in the array, and that minimum element is swapped with the first element. Okay, so every time when you find the ith smallest element, you are swapping with the correct position. Okay, so that swap statement is given here, interchange A of I and A of min. So here okay, you can see here this is example tracing 7542. Okay, so the first time it has to run and you have to find the minimum element. So you find the minimum element as 2. Now what you have to do, 2 and 7 are swapped. So you get the sorted and unsorted part. 2 and 7 is swapped. Now from the remaining element, I is incremented, outer loop is incremented. From the remaining element, you will find the next minimum element. So next minimum element is 4 and you will be swapping it with the second position, right? Because the first position is the first minimum element. So you are swapping it, 4 and 5 are swapped and you will get this array. Next minimum element is 5. Okay, so it is no need to swap there. Then you have next is 7. Okay, so every iteration you find the minimum element in the array. So here the size of the element array is n is equal to 4, and you can see 3 times you are finding the minimum element. Okay, so to find the minimum element you are going to run the loop for the size of the array, right? So here in this case, first time you executed it for with a size of n, then you were searching the element in 3, size of the array was 3. Next you searched for an minimum element as 4, I mean 2, size of 2, right? So every time you are finding the minimum element, which is the time complexity of that is going to be O of n, and the outer loop is running for all the elements. So n times O of n will give you the time complexity as O of n square. Okay, so as I told earlier, for insertion sort, uh, what will be the time complexity for the worst case and the best case for the selection sort also. Okay, so thank you.